Good evening, one and all. We welcome you all to the International Webinar Series on Holistic Health, Well-being and Sustainable Development 2015 to 2030. 2022, 2023. Good evening, one and all. We welcome you all to the International Webinar Series on Holistic Health, Well-being and Sustainable Development 2022-2023, commemorating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, nation celebrating 75 years of independence, India's G20 presidency, United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 2015 to 2030 as part of awareness and campaigns in collaboration with Sri Holistic Health Foundation India and Sri Research Institute Center for Arts, Sciences and Wellbeing. Before we start our sessions, let's take the blessings of Almighty.
कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः
The blessings of Almighty, we shall continue with today's commemorations. Today, we are commemorating the annual day of the seafarers, in short known as DOTS, which is celebrated on 25th June. So the theme for 2023, we look at the seafarers' contribution to protecting the marine environment in the inland with the World Maritime Theme, MARPOL. At 50, our commitment goes on. Seafarers spend a great deal of time at sea and are a big part of solution when it comes to protecting the marine environment. As part of the campaign, we are requesting to share a picture of marine environment surrounding them while at sea, highlighting that the marine environment is worth protecting. Let's watch a short video.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again we celebrate the International Day of the Seafarer on the 25th of June. This year we highlight seafarers' contribution to the safety of ships and protection of the marine environment. Every day, hundreds of thousands of seafarers are underway on ships, playing a vital role in the global trade, transporting cargoes and ensuring passengers reach their destinations safely. As the maritime sector continues to work toward making shipping more environmentally sound and sustainable, seafarers play an increasingly important role in helping to protect the health of our ocean and planet. Every day at the sea, they help to enforce IMO's environment-related treaties by implementing rules on garbage and sewage and air pollution prevention. This year, as we celebrate the 50-year anniversary of our main environmental instrument, MARPOL Convention, renewing our firm commitment toward the protection of our environment, this remains even more relevant. As the shipping industry accelerates its support of the global efforts to combat climate change by moving toward decarbonization, seafarers' voices, actions are key to ensuring a just transition to zero-carbon future. All this is to protect our precious oceans, which are the lifebloods of the planet. Dear seafarers, we invite you to share on social media what you see when you are at the sea. Show us the equipment you use to protect the environment, the special training you received, and tell us how you protect our ocean and the planet. And we invite everyone to use the hashtag Oceans Worth Protecting, whether you are seafarers yourself or are paying tribute to them. I look forward to seeing your pictures and reading your comments. Now, it just remains for me to wish you a happy International Day of the Seafarer 2023.
So the Day of Seafarers was established in a resolution adopted by the 2010 Diplomatic Conference in Manila to adopt the revised STCW Convention. Its stated purpose is to recognize the unique contribution made by the seafarers from all over the world. To international seaborne trade and world economy and civil society as a whole. So this resolution encourages governments, shipping organizations, companies, and all other parties concerned to duly appropriately promote the Day of Seafarer and take action to celebrate it meaningfully. Day of Seafarer is recognized by the United Nations as an observance commemoration day. So the International Maritime Organization's World Maritime Theme for 2023 is MARPOL at 50, Our Commitment Goes On. The theme reflects the organization's long history of protecting the environment from the impact of shipping via a robust regulatory framework and emphasizes its ongoing commitment to this important work. The theme MARPOL at 50, Our Commitment Goes On, also spotlights the International Convention for the Prevention of Pollution from Ships, which covers the prevention of pollution of the marine environment by ships by operational or accidental causes. Let's watch another video.
Today, shipping delivers over 80% of the world trade and carries millions of passengers to destinations across the globe. Maritime transport continues to be the safest and most energy-efficient mode of transport. Shipping is a crucial part of the global supply chain. This is a certainty even in uncertain times. The International Maritime Organization, IMO, is fulfilling its role as the global regulator for shipping, ensuring that the maritime sector delivers cargo safely and environmentally sustainable manner. The voyage toward an environmentally sound shipping sector started over 50 years ago. At the time, the world recognized the need to protect our planet, and in particular, the maritime environment from all sources of pollution. A number of maritime pollution incidents were a strong catalyst for action. Against this background, IMO decided to adopt a treaty to prevent pollution from ships into the marine environment. The International Convention for the Prevention of Pollution from Ships, or MARPOL. Over the time, the IMO member states expanded MARPOL's coverage, starting from accidental and operational oil spill from tankers to prevention of pollution from chemicals carried in bulk, packaged dangerous goods, sewage, and garbage, and ultimately the prevention of air pollution from ships. This year, we celebrate the 50th anniversary of this landmark environmental treaty. To mark this special occasion, our World Maritime theme for 2023 is MARPOL at the 50. Our commitment goes on. Through these decades, MARPOL has consequently advanced to keep up with the lessons learned and new demands, such as the imperative to tackle climate change and to accommodate new technologies. Its rules are continuously upgraded as we look to a sustainable future and enhance the protection of our planet and oceans. MARPOL has had a positive impact on the marine environment. It has changed how ships like this one are designed and operated. The number of oil spills fell by over 90% through the last 50 years due to this and other targeted interventions. Thanks to MARPOL, the discharge of plastic garbage into the sea is banned, and operational waste such as garbage and sewage cannot simply be disposed of at the sea and are very strictly regulated. Air pollution rules have also immensely cut sulfur oxide emissions from ships. The latest efforts focus on driving the decarbonization of shipping, supporting the global fight against climate change. Of course, there is still more work to do. As we mark 50 years of MARPOL, I invite all stakeholders to promote further dialogue on the next phase of IMO's work to enhance sustainable shipping and protect our planet and oceans. Shipping is evolving. Shipping must embrace decarbonization, digitalization, and innovative technology, including automation, while ensuring the human element is kept front and the center of the technological and the green transition to ensure a sustainable planet for future generations. MARPOL has made a difference to shipping and to the health of our ocean and will continue to do so as we look ahead to the next 50 years.
That's how the IMO's Marine Protection Treaty makes a difference. The International Convention for Prevention of Pollution from Ships, MARPOL, contains 6 annexures. Annexure 1, Prevention of Pollution by Oil, entered into force 2nd October 1983. Annexure 2, Noxious Liquid Substances, Control of Pollution by Noxious Liquid Substance in Bulk, entered into the force 2nd October 1983. Harmful Substances, Annexure 3, Prevention of Pollution by Harmful Substances carried by sea in package form, entered into force 1st July 1992. Annexure 4, Prevention of Pollution by Sewage from Ships, entered into force 27 September 2003. Annexure 5, Prevention of Pollution by Garbage from Ships, entered into force 31st December 1988. And finally, Annexure 6, Prevention of Air Pollution from Ships, entered into force 19th May 2005. So Maripol at 50, our commitment goes on, promotes discussions on the next phase at IMO's work to further protect the planet and oceans, is also linked to the UN 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. These include affordable and clean energy, Sustainable Development Goal number 7, industry, innovation and infrastructure, Sustainable Development Goal number 9, sustainable climate action and sustainable use of the oceans, seas and marine resources, Sustainable Development Goals 13 and 14, and the importance of partnerships and implementation to achieve these goals. SDG 17. So IMO Secretary General Kitak Lim said a lot has changed in the shipping in the 50 years since Marpol Convention, which was adopted on 2nd November 1973. IMO's commitment to protecting and preventing the marine environment has remained unwavering. The World Maritime Theme for 2023 will allow us to celebrate this legacy while also underscoring our dedication to building on the existing foundations as we move towards a brighter future together. As this day is for seafarers of all stripes, from coast guards to navies to every fisherman and marine biologist and cruise ship captain. If your job involves a large quantity of salt water, then this day is dedicated to you. The first documented sea voyage was made around 3200 BCE in the West and was bankrolled by Egyptian pharaoh Snefru. He has also built 3 pyramids using his ring. So today, over 90% of the global trade is done by sea, since it is still the most cost-effective way to transport goods. Marine biologists and oceanographers from every country have dedicated their lives to the learning more about the ocean depths, and humans from every walk of life keeping going to sea to explore the planet. At the conference of parties to the International Convention on Standards of Training, Certification and Watchkeeping for Seafarers, in short known as STCW, the resolution establishing the Day of Seafarer is adopted in June 2010. And the first celebration of the Day of the Seafarer was in 2011. And the theme for the Day of the Seafarer campaign is Our Seafaring Future in 2020. This year we have already mentioned. So if you live near a Coast Guard outpost, you might consider dropping in. This is a great opportunity not only to learn more about the Coast Guard, what the Coast Guard does, but also to thank them for doing their job so well. Baked goods rarely go amiss in that situation. If you don't live near a Coast Guard outpost, you can always make a monetary donation online, or you can spread the word and read a book or watch a movie about life at sea. There are a lot of wonderful documentaries available on YouTube, on Netflix, on National Geographic and Discovery and various other channels. So you can watch. While Titanic is a classic, it may be time to branch out into a lesser known stories. So already we have been reading a lot more about Titanic, and recently, a submarine that has gone, I mean, as a part of tourism, which contains one of the richest persons of the world, one among the richest persons of the world, including the few elite people, those who have traveled to see, witness the Titanic. Due to certain issues, still the investigation is going on and official report has to come. But as per the information received, they are assuming that it could have got blasted, and due to the pressure, these people inside the submarine have been burnt into ashes. So they are never found, but the remnants of the submarine has been found, located. So still daily we are getting updates. It's almost, I think, 7 days, somewhere around within a week, this incident has happened. So, and that is creating a lot of waves, trends, even on social media. Hope you all are aware of it. So there are various other things that also we can explore along with Titanic, if you know about it. Otherwise, you can also explore other less known stories, from high-stake adventures like the finest hours of the Treasure Island to the heart-rending disaster stories like the Perfect Storm or the Poseidon Adventure. Maritime stories are always rife with drama. And okay, it isn't about you watch Jaws again, no, the famous shark movie, which has created a fear. Since Jaws has released, people have developed a phobia for the sharks. And unfortunately, poor sharks have been killed everywhere. And they are also still facing extinction. So you can watch any of those movies or read whichever you like to learn more about the oceans. And the Coast Guard isn't the only organization that accepts donations. Ocean is an international group dedicated to protecting and restoring the world ocean and the species that live there. So while the Family Support Project provides emotional and practical support for the family of seafarers, there are dozens of other causes as well, especially these fishermen are also like farmers. They don't get adequate food. They don't get adequate facilities. Often they are rehabilitated because of especially flood, cyclones, and rainy seasons. So you can also donate to them or donate to such organizations in cash or kind. See, donation does not always means you have to do it in cash or in monetary terms. You can also spread a word about them or talk about welfare of them, or you can spread a message. You can do advocacy online, offline, so that more people are aware of it, and there is a pressure on the governments and support organizations to provide better services. So as we mentioned before, the vast majority of international trade is done by the sea. Here, sea means oceans. Due to relatively low cost and greater economy of space, if trade by sea were limited in some way or stopped altogether, there is no way that the global economy would be able to function. In other words, we owe our current ways of life to those who travel the seas. See, oceans play a very important role. We have seen, how oceans are lungs of the planet, because a lot of carbon dioxide and other are, consumed by oceans and various living beings, plants, and, animals in the ocean. That way it is consuming a lot of carbon emissions. And not only that, it is facilitating a lot of food. We have seen recently International Day for Unregulated and, this fishing day, illegal fishing day. And there are many such. Even we recently commemorated World Ocean Day. Like this, we have different, days which are there to commemorate and highlight the importance of that. So, sea is a vital to the economy, and sea trade, especially in the form of either carrying the passengers through cruises or tourism, or even transportation of goods from one country to other. Even, the major internet connectivity we are using today is through cables, underwater cables through oceans. Through satellites, the amount of internet that is transferred is very less. We also seen once in the commemoration of in our own platform, where I spoke about how much of I gave statistics also. How much of internet is being used through satellites. Most of the majority, 60 to 80% of the internet we use, that is, we are connected to country through underground sea cables. We have seen, hope if you have remembered or not, at times, we lost entire connectivity. Even some nations got lost connectivity, and for 2-3 days, we didn't have internet also. Maybe I don't know whether you people remember or not, but I have seen 2-3 times, where there was no internet in the entire nation, except, that was very limited to mobile and other things. But major internet service was down, not only for us, for various other countries, because one of these this undersea or under ocean cable was damaged because some sharks or something got bit the cable, and the cable was damaged. And one time something happened, some collision, some accident, the cable got damaged. So till the time the cable was replaced, so there was no internet connectivity. That internet connectivity also got interrupted. But of course, there are mechanisms where there is a surveillance of the cables. There are automatic, manual, semi-automatic systems, surveillance systems that keeps monitoring the health and also any issues in the cables. And there is also a mechanism to immediately go fix the cable underwater and also above water. If it is a small issue that can be fixed up, it is fixed underwater only with certain equipment. If that is not possible, they pull out the cable out of water through mechanisms, and they fix the cable and again drop it in the ocean so that it reaches again to the depth of the ocean, or at least to the original position. So similarly, in many ways, these seas and oceans are vital in promoting economy and development. And scientific research is also vital to human life. Not only trade by sea makes up most global economy, but also oceans themselves take about 70% of the planet, because we have just around 30% of the land only. Most of the planet is filled with water, oceans. And over 1 million species of plants and animals live in the ocean. And scientists estimate that there may be up to 9 million species in there that have been discovered yet. Haven't been discovered yet. That's why we keep, talking about 8+ billion species that was mentioned in the, Vedic literature. But that is only, an estimate. Actually, that is not figure. From the verses, from few verses, we could found that there are certain 8+ billion species on the planet. Again, there is yet information. Those are the major classification. And if we cut down to, or if we go down to minor classification, there are more species. Subspecies are there that is not part of this. And there are more subspecies also. So that's how, our ancient Vedic knowledge has already told everything to us, but we are not reading, we are not going through, we are not addressing, because of that, we are not aware. We lost our ancient culture, and today we are struggling with the modern science. But anyway, that's fine, because we also need to talk about both the positives and negatives. That's how, it has to be. And moreover, everything we know about the ocean today, we know thanks to the tireless work of thousands of oceanographers and marine biologists who dedicate their lives to the study of those watery depths. Still, there are many parts of the ocean which are not being explored. But again, whatever we explored, we have little information about. And when it comes to saving people's lives at sea, we have two lines of defense. That is, one is we have navies keeping us safe in times of water and war. And we have coast guards to keep us safe from natural disasters, criminal activity, and environmental deterioration. The ocean, as important as it is, poses a significant threat to American life. And also, not just to America, but every country which has a seashore, that is ocean, coastal line or coastal area. And without these organizations, human rights or humans as such might be in even more danger, because they are going into the ocean for various purposes. They are living in very close proximity to the ocean, and a small change can submerge them and their communities into the ocean. We have seen, due to rising ocean sea levels, the coastal lines are getting submerged. Coastal areas are submerged. In some areas, we have seen villages together got submerged into the oceans. And recent IPCC report also warned that 16 cities in India, around 16 cities, including the most popular cities like Mumbai, Chennai, and various other famous coastal areas, are going to be submerged. The same continues to keep rising. So 16 major coastal cities are the important economic cities as well. So they are also very important for economic, and there is a huge population there, economic activity going on. If they get submerged, like our Dwarka in Gujarat, which is underwater city, entire city, So similarly, all these will be underwater, where, of course, then again, there is a huge lot of problem. Again, that entire land is gone, and all the people have to be rehabilitated somewhere. Again, lot of construction activity and community building, town planning, city planning, and the land, whichever is available, again, it will become short. So more and more land encroaching into the forest, again accelerating climate change. So all these will again impact, and again sea levels keep rising, and many countries will disappear. And those islands at sea level or above sea level, they will also get submerged. So land, which is now around 30%, is also gradually decreasing because of the rising sea levels. So that also we need to take care. Today is also celebrated as World Vitiligo Day. Vitiligo, hope you all can recollect. It is white patches on the screen, the pigmentation problem that cause it. It is a skin disorder that affects 1% to 2% of the population. It is a lifelong disorder that causes discoloration of patches in different areas of the body, as well as a total loss of skin color. And other symptoms include hair turning prematurely gray or white, and eyelashes or eyebrows losing color and turning white. World Vitiligo Day was first celebrated in 2011, and it is known as Vitiligo Awareness Day or Vitiligo Purple Fun Day, as the purple is the official color representing the condition. So vitiligo has been mentioned in the text of almost every major religion, and its first description dates back to more than 3,000 years. The end of the 19th century was a time of much progress in terms of understanding vitiligo. Doctors observed about episodes of emotional stress led to flare-ups of vitiligo. They have also noticed that none of the available treatments made much impact on the disease. During the 1940s, it was observed that the vitiligo may be genetic, as the disorder affected families. So World Vitiligo Day was first celebrated in 2011 with the inaugural event taking place in Lagos, Nigeria. Michael Jackson was one of the most well-known celebrities who suffered from this condition. He passed away on June 25th, 2009. Thus, World Vitiligo is observed on June 25th in his honor. So in 2013, World Vitiligo Day changed its headquarters from Rome to Detroit. The movement has steadily grown over the years from a handful of volunteers to 484,687 activists and 50 plus clinics offering free skin checkups in 17 countries. Many events are being hosted across the globe. Another part of the awareness campaign helps those with vitiligo to overcome any insecurities they have. These have been organized by local organizations and have taken place in person as well as online, as we are organizing in a similar way. In 2020, World Vitiligo Day, a webinar in China, was watched by 5.5 million people. And the first mention of vitiligo, as already mentioned, it is described in both pre-Hindu, or that is Vedic texts. And after that, we can also see similar mentions in Egyptian text, which has a clear record of depigmentation. So starting in Ayurveda, apart from that, we have ancient civilizations also talked about it. So Celsus used the word vitiligo in his Latin book, De Medicina, in 1st century AD. And vitiligo is unknown to Europe and is confused with leprosy and other disorders in between Middle Ages, that is 1050 to 1348. And no available treatments. Doctors discover that there is no cure, and the treatments available do not make an impact on the disorder till 19th century, end of the 19th century. And a petition gains momentum. Over 5 lakh people signed the petition to ask the UN to officially recognize the World Vitiligo Day in 2015. So the headquarters has moved to Mexico in 2022. So there is a lot of research that is happening across the world on vitiligo, especially Vitiligo Research Foundation, which is a registered 501c3 non-profit organization existing under the rules, under the laws of the state of Delaware, US, is sponsoring, conducting various awareness. And today is World Vitiligo Day, and there is a Vitiligo Awareness Month. This entire month is also commemorated as Vitiligo Awareness Month. So there are different types of vitiligo. Non-segmental vitiligo and segmental vitiligo are two main types of vitiligo. So purple is the color of vitiligo awareness. You can participate by wearing the shirt or purple clothing and encourage others to do the same. If you cannot wear purple clothing, you can also wear purple accessories. So educate yourself about the disorder. You can always run a fundraiser or host an event or to raise money or support for the vitiligo research. This is still prejudice. There is still much prejudice against the people with vitiligo. Educate people around you. This is not contagious or a sickness like leprosy. And there is no cure, as we don't have any cure for many. Like this is also one such condition, one such disease or disorder, that vitiligo can be managed by eating correctly, taking care of your skin, by not exposing yourself to too much sun, using organic lotions, exercising, and reducing stress. There are different types of vitiligo, and these different types have different origins and causes. So we don't know the exact cause. Vitiligo is not contagious. It cannot be spread from one person to another by direct or indirect contact. It is found on the skin around the eyes, mouth, elbows, wrist, hands, and ankles, and it occurs anywhere on the body. Winnie Harlow, John Hamm, and Joe Rogan are some of the celebrities who had this disorder, including Michael Jackson. Vitiligo is a forgotten disease. The day creates awareness around the bullying, social neglect, psychological trauma, and the disability of the people affected by it. In some cultures, there is an extreme prejudice against people with vitiligo, and only educating them will help. The movement calls for the better treatment and care for vitiligo and improvement in healthcare systems. This is especially needed in poorer countries. People are learning not to tease those with vitiligo. This is because social media highlights the beauty of people with vitiligo. This day shines a positive spotlight on sensitive issues. So the ambitious goals of 25th June initiative is to mark World Vitiligo Day on June 25th, a date to be observed annually by the United Nations. And a longer term, the 25th June initiative aims to generate awareness of vitiligo, its appropriate care and treatment methods among the general public, healthcare providers, and to raise funds needed for the research. So this year, they are planning to raise 1 crore signatures to address the United Nations in order to recognize the neglected and debilitating disease associated with severe social complications, recognize the urgent need to pursue multilateral efforts in therapy development and healthcare education, designate January 25th as the World Vitiligo to be observed by the United Nations and member states every year. Recognition is the first step for this prevention, better treatment, and care for vitiligo. Recognition is the first step for prevention, better treatment, and care of the vitiligo, in line with the sustainable development of natural healthcare systems and national healthcare systems. So recognize the vitiligo can be disability or disabling. In some situations, collect nationwide statistics on vitiligo prevalence, focus attention on national healthcare systems on vitiligo and related risk factors. So on this June 25th Vitiligo Day, World Vitiligo Day, no hate, no discrimination, no judgment. In our skin, we will embrace diversity together, spreading awareness of vitiligo. And as already mentioned, Vitiligo Research Foundation, VR Foundation, is a consultative member of the United Nations Economic and Social Council, UN ECOSOC. So today we are also commemorating Filipinos seafarer in Philippines. The other day was international, and this has been regularly celebrated for a few years as a tribute to the marine industry's workers. And the Philippines hopes to promote awareness of the critical role that maritime workers play. So Philippines is one of the world's largest producers of maritime services, with a major section of its population involved in industry. So this serves a special purpose. So it was celebrated first time in 2014 on the recommendations of International Maritime Organization to the United Nations, that they later officially declared 25th of each year as the Day of Seafarer. Upon its first celebration, the holiday was mainly an international observance with a This week is also celebrated as Deaf Blind Awareness Week, which is observed from June 25th to July 1st. This week is marked annually during the last week of June in honor of leading humanitarian Helen Keller's birthday. So being deaf and blind herself, Keller's work made a big difference. Her birthday is coming on June 27th. After 2 days, we'll also look at in detail about her and her activities. So being deaf and blind herself, Keller's work made a big difference in the lives of deaf blind people. The term deaf blindness refers to a combination of the term deaf blindness refers to a combination of visual and auditory impairments and is much more common than many people realize. Over 15 million people worldwide are estimated to be living with severe deaf blindness. So besides commemorating Keller's accomplishments, this week is a chance for us to raise awareness of the condition and make the world a more deaf-blind friendly place. So on June 22nd, 1984, President Ronald Reagan proclaimed the last week beginning June 24 as Helen Keller's So Helen Keller is an example of how persistence and hard work can overcome adversity, and her accomplishments symbolize hope and courage for the deaf-blind people. Keller suffered a series of strokes in 1961 and died in her sleep on June 1st, 1968. When Keller was about 7 years old, she would kick and scream when angry and giggle uncontrollably when happy. So her relatives felt that she should be institutionalized. Sullivan taught Keller the word water by putting water on Keller's hand and spelling out water on Keller's other hand. And Keller understood and then repeated the word on Sullivan's hand. So after expressing her socialist views, the Brooklyn Eagle news editor wrote her mistake sprung out of the manifest limitations of her development. Keller traveled to 35 countries, being appointed as Counselor of International Relations for the American Foundation of Overseas Blind write autobiography inspired by a television drama, The Miracle Worker, was based on the Keller's The Story of My Life. She reminds us to raise awareness about Deafblind Awareness Week and also a chance to learn more. Deafblind people use different ways to communication such as tactile sign languages, tactile finger spelling, print or owner population. This week is also commemorated as National Tennis Week. President Gerald R. Ford, the 38th President of the United States, declared the holiday to celebrate the modern game of tennis, and that began in England in 1870. Today is also commemorated as Windjammer Days, which is a festival held every year in the last week of June, and Booth Day or Booth Bay region of Maine to commemorate the enormous sailing ships known as windjammers. We had only one form of transportation before motorways, motor vehicles, and interconnected world, ships. These ships not only transport people, but also they were only means of transporting products to other parts of the world. The Windjammer, our ancient sailing ship, was of a very specific category with square shape. So today we are also commemorating Please Take My Children to Work Day in US. It is a day when stay-at-home parents can ask their partners or friends to take their children to the work with them so that they can get a break from full-time parenting and recharge their batteries. It's a great way to lower your stress levels and take out some quality time for yourself if you don't have one. Even though there are many households in which both parents are working, some homes still have at least one stay at home. Today is also commemorated as National Camp Counts in US. It seeks to offer children, especially underprivileged ones, the chance to take part in an ongoing tradition. For most of the kids, life-changing, exciting experiences are also mostly forgotten. Today is also commemorated as National Strawberry Parfait Day, which gives an excuse to enjoy all the strawberry parfait in the world. Strawberry parfait is a divine dessert that does not only taste heavily, but also looks absolutely beautiful in its bright red and white colors. The desert's name evokes in images of quiet and cozy caves in France as a parfait. Part of the name means perfect in French, and we couldn't agree more. So traditionally, this is a dessert is made with the juicy strawberries and ice cream or whipped cream or custard and nuts. Today is also commemorated as National Fatherless Children's Day. It acknowledges the impact of fatherlessness on children and families. It also seeks to raise awareness about detrimental consequences that fatherless has on children and communities around the world. Donald Adams of Finding Fathers, Inc. founded the day in November 2020. The inaugural National Fatherless Children Day was held on 27, 2021 and was officially acknowledged by the National Day Archives. Early parental separation harms child development and behavior throughout their childhood. A British study indicated that, like poverty and parental psychological distress, father absence at any given predicted a high range of risk of the child scoring above the cutoff the score for total difficulties 2 years later. Borderline personality disorder, excessive hyperactivity, and abnormal emotional problems were among the difficulties first. Today is also commemorated as National Catfish Day in US. Catfish gets its name from the long barbels that hang on either side of the mouth, much more like whiskers of a cat. While many people not a big fan of consume fish in general because of the fishy smell, we leave it back to either cooked or raw. Catfish is one of the highest consumed fish species in America. You can also have it breaded and fried or grilled over coals and served with tangy fruits. Apart from its great taste, catfishing farming has also led to stable income for many fish farmers. So today is also commemorated as Log Cabin Day. Log cabin is a small log building with a few rooms and no electricity. It's home to Americans in a time of little sophistication and technology. Today, the member of a cabin house prompts an image of a nice, quite long innovation. So today is also commemorated as Goat's Cheese Day as a way to appreciate and bask in its wonders. And its crumbly feta to the thick, viscous shell halloumi. Goat's cheese is a popular type of cheese consumed across the world. Today, Today is also commemorated as Color TV Day, celebrated on June 25th every year. Watching color television is something most of us take for granted for these days, but this wasn't always the case. The first television programs we saw were in black and white, and that was the only way we could watch them. It wasn't until the middle of the 20th century that the color television watching became the standard in the United States. It is only fair that consider that color televisions should be celebrated for their unique day, which is Color TV Day. This commemoration commemorates the birth of the color television and the role it has played in our culture and its inception. The development of fully colored television systems changed the face of television forever, and the world of television as we know it today would be considerably different. Even though that they were more challenging to manufacture, numerous innovations across the globe worked hard to develop such a gadget that would allow millions of people to see wireless broadcasts that were replicated in vivid color. So such attempts began in the experimental stage during the 19th century, and the first prototype appeared in 1928. Public broadcasting in 1940 and the black and white transmissions extinction began in the mid-70s. Following the tremendous success of black and white television broadcasting in the United States, CBS researchers, under the direction of Peter Goldmark, approved a heavy and massive mechanical television system in 1950, with the first color transmission taking place in June of the following year because of the expensive cost of color television sets and the limited quantity of color television material available. Black and white television sets remained unpopular until the mid-1960s, even though many American television stations began broadcasting in color as early as 1954. So eventually, this color TV has gained popularity in the United States and eventually expanded across the globe. While Europe awaited the solidification of American standards and a solution to their early technological challenges, they introduced the color PAL format in 1967, which was eventually adopted worldwide. It wasn't until 1972 that the sales of color television sets in the United States overtook black and white television sets for the first time. So the first model of color TV was so expensive. That was RCA set with a 15-inch screen. 15-inch screen which sold for $1, the equivalent of $7,850 today. The first color TV show in US, CBS produced a television show called Premiere in 1951 that is widely considered the first color television transmission. On New Year's Day, 1954, the first live broadcast on national TV was Living Color. It covered the tournament of Rose Paradise in Pasadena, California. The manufacture of color televisions was halted during the Korean Battle due to scarcity of metals required for the war, which were also needed to assemble color televisions. But later on, it was resumed. The Flintstones and the Jetsons were the first cartoon series to be screened in color in the autumn of 1962. So nothing beats the escapism that a good TV show can provide. When you are irritated, upset, or in a bad mood, TV might offer you just the right amount of diversion to temporarily forget about your issues. Television is also a great way to learn new things in various industries. Educational presentations, creative shows, competitive events provide a lot of knowledge about education and technology. Whether you believe it or not, television is one place where all family members can sit together. So it brings families and friends together. So today is also commemorated as National Boys and Girls Club Week in US. There is no fixed date because it changes every year. And this year, it takes place from June 20 to July 1, as it is celebrated annually in mid-spring or early summer. For more than 75 years, boys and girls clubs across the countries have been holding this week to celebrate the invaluable service that clubs bring to communities. This day offers the general public and the opportunity to experience the life-changing programs that Boys and Girls Club provides to children and teenagers across the United States. It is a national organization of local branches that offer voluntary extracurricular programs for the young people, and the organization has a congressional chapter under Section 36 of the United States Code and is headquartered in Atlanta, with regional offices in Chicago, Dallas, Atlanta, New York, and Los Angeles. The BGCA is a tax-exempt and partially funded by the federal government. So the National Week of Boys and Girls Clubs celebrates their sustainability and preservance of these clubs. As part of this week, Boys and Girls Club across the United States and US military bases are holding weekly celebrations to see how clubs are doing everything they can to help young people stay on the right track. So finally, the last commemoration for the day. Today, we are celebrating the festival as with the commencement of Ashada Masam. Bonalu is celebrated every year, which usually falls in July or August according to the Gregorian calendar. This year, this festival falls from June 25th to July 16th. The festival is celebrated mainly in the Twin Cities of Hyderabad and Secunderabad, as well as in other parts in the state of Telangana, in the honor of Hindu goddess Mahakali. It is a merry and colorful affair with women dressing up in their traditional outfits called saris, jewelry, and other accessories. Women carry bonam, a meal made of rice, milk, and jaggery in earthen pots over their heads as offering to the goddesses. So this takes place for the entire Ashada month. Every Sunday in one area, it is celebrated across the Twin Cities, starting from Golconda Fort Temple and ending with other places. And Mahakali is the fierce Hindu goddess of the destruction and doomsday. Her origin is mentioned in various Puranic and Tantric Hindu scriptures, while she is portrayed as a primeval force of the universe. She is described as an abstract energy and is considered to be the goddess of time. In most Indian depictions, she has a blue-black complexion, 4 arms carrying weapons, a demon head and a skull cup, small fangs, disheveled hair, eyes full of rage, and lolling tongue. She is adorned with a necklace of 108 demon hands and wears a skirt made of demon arms, and some depictions also show her with 10 heads. So, which is the fierce Hindu goddess of destruction and doomsday. And Bonalu dates back to 19th century when the disease broke out in the twin cities of Hyderabad and Secunderabad and killed thousands of people. Right before this, a military battalion was deployed from Hyderabad to Jain in the state of Madhya Pradesh. When this battalion learned about the epidemic in the cities, they prayed to the goddess in Mahankal temple in Ujjain to get rid of the plague. They prayed that if the goddess did so, they would install an idol of the goddess in the city. And it is believed that Mahakali destroyed this disease and kept pestilence away. When the military battalion returned to the city, they installed an idol of goddesses, which was followed by the offering of the Bonalu to her. This turned into a tradition that is still being followed by all people belonging to the Telangana region. Another story that this time when goddess Mahankali came back to her parental home in Ashada Masam, or the period from late June to August, and so this period is best time to offer Bonalu to the goddess. And of course, there are various legends and stories and tales associated. The famous Kalighat temple dedicated to the goddess Kali is only about 200 years old in its present form, but it has been referred in Mansar Bhashan, composed in the 15th century. And the famous sage Krishnananda Agambagish initiates Kali Puja or Kali worship in 16th century. Kali Puja gains popularity when Saint Sri Ramakrishna becomes popular among the Bengalis, and wealthy landowners began holding the festival on a grand scale in 19th century. The plague breaks out in twin cities of Hyderabad and Secunderabad in the present day of Telangana in 1813, the Great Plague. So Kali is depicted in her Mahakali form with 10 heads, 10 arms, and 10 legs. Each of her hand carrying an implement which varies according to different accounts, but all of them represent the power of a Hindu god and are often the identifying weapon or ritual item of a given god. The story goes that Mahakali was born when the goddess Parvati shed her dark skin, and Dashat became Kali, leaving Parvati in the form of Gauri. She then battled the demon Raktabija. And there are various other legends also. Kali is not always thought as of a dark goddess. Despite her origins in the battle, she evolved into a symbol of Mother Nature. She also possesses creative and nurturing aspects and is referred to as a great and loving primordial mother goddess according to the Hindu Tantric tradition. So in this month, if you can visit Telangana state to see the colorful processions, delicious food, and pure devotion that marks Bonalu. And you can also use this opportunity to go to sightseeing around the state. And lucky for you, the festivities begin at the Sri Jagadambika temple, atop of the majestic Golconda Fort that itself is a historical and tourist place. So look up the nearest Hindu or Kali temples in your area and visit them to see Bonalu festivities. Pay your respects if you wish and be ready to gobble some delicious food. Prepare bonum made of rice, milk and jaggery at home. Show it to sun god or keep it at the shrine. If you have one in your house, offer it to God. After the worship, a priest may decorate the mother goddess and offer puja and bonum in temples. So you can prepare at home and carry it to the temples, or you can also offer at your homes. And also various tantric practices are also followed. Like even in West also we have a lot of these practices that are happening, So on some other day I will talk about it, because we already come to end of this day. I don't want to take much time on it. But a celebration of Kali Puja in the cities of Kolkata, Bhubaneswar and Guwahati is also held in large cremation grounds, where she is believed to dwell according to some devotees. So that we will see in detail in some other time, stories behind that. And Kali is mostly portrayed in two forms. One is popular four-armed form and the other is 10-armed Mahakali form. Although Kali is often associated with sexuality and violence, there is also considered, she is also considered to be a strong mother figure and symbol of motherly love. The both extremes are there. One side, a great compassion, love towards the devotees and children, and the other side, fiercely figure to destroy the demons and evils. The famous Rolling Stones Lips logo was inspired by Mick Jagger's desire to convey a tribute to the goddess Kali. And legend goes that the goddess destroyed the demon Raktabija, his companions and his entire army, who were causing a lot of trouble to both the people and also as well as the god. So she killed the fearsome demon Raktabija. And like many other Hindu gods, people have been praying Kali for a long time, since 1000 BC and more and earlier. Her origins can be traced to the deities of village, tribal and mountain cultures of South Asia. And Kali is the goddess of death, destruction and time according to Hindu mythology. Here mythology needs to be understood in a different context. The Western mythology has a different connotation. But here we are, because English has fewer words and very limited ability or capability of expressing the Vedic culture or various concepts, because they don't have that kind of vast vocabulary in English language. So she is considered to be destroyer of evil and the protector of people. And she shows the impermanence of all things by wearing a garland of skulls. Yet she is also the ultimate transforming power of time. And since the late 1900s, feminist scholars and writers in the United States have seen Kali as a symbol of feminine empowerment. Members of New Age movements have found theologically and sexually liberating inspiration in her more violent sexual forms. So she has become a feminist icon across the West. So with this, we shall conclude the commemorations for the day. Thank you everyone for joining us. And see you all tomorrow. The feedback form has been raised. The registration form has been already shared in the chat box. Those who are not registered, kindly request to register after filling up the feedback form. So see you all tomorrow at 6 o'clock with different commemorations. Take care. Good night.